صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
The Book of Al-Muhsar. Footnote: Al-Muhsar is a muhrim who intends to perform Hajj or Umrah, but is prevented from performing it because of some obstacle. And the statement of Allah: but if you are prevented from completing them, sacrifice a hadith, animal, that is a sheep or a cow or a camel, etc., such as you can afford, and do not shave your heads until the hadith reaches the place of sacrifice. Quran, chapter 2, verse 196. Chapter on if one intending to perform Umrah is prevented from performing it. Narrated Nafi', when Abdullah bin Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, set out for Mecca intending to perform Umrah at the time of al-fitna, trial or affliction, he said, if I should be prevented from reaching the Kaaba, then I would do the same as Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, did. So I assume ihram for Umrah, as Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, assumed for Umrah in the year of Hudaybiyah. Footnote: at the time of al-fitna referred to the fighting between al-Hajjaj and al-Zubayr. Narrated Nafi' that Ubaydullah bin Abdullah bin Salim bin Abdullah informed him that they told Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, when Ibn Zubayr was attacked by the army, saying, there is no harm for you if you did not perform Hajj this year. We are afraid that you may be prevented from reaching the Kaaba. Ibn Umar said, we set out with Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and the Quraysh, disbelievers, prevented us from reaching the Kaaba. And so the Prophet, peace be upon him, slaughtered his hadith and got his head shaved. Ibn Umar added, I make you witness that I have made Umrah obligatory for me, and if Allah will, I will go, and then if the way to Kaaba is clear, I will perform the tawaf. But if I am prevented from going to the Kaaba, then I will do the same as the Prophet, peace be upon him, did while I was in his company. Ibn Umar then assumed ihram for Umrah from Dhul Hulayfa and proceeded for a while and said, the conditions of Umrah and Hajj are similar, and I make you witnesses that I have made Umrah and Hajj obligatory for myself. So he did not finish the ihram till the day of Nahar, slaughtering, came, and he slaughtered his hadith. He used to say, I will not finish the ihram till I perform the tawaf, one tawaf on the day of entering Mecca, that is, one sa'i of As-Safa and al-Marwa for both Umrah and Hajj. Narrated Nafi', some of the sons of Abdullah told him, that is, Abdullah, if he had stayed and not performed Hajj that year. Narrated Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with them, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, was prevented from performing Umrah. Therefore, he shaved his head and had sexual relations with his wives, and slaughtered his hadith, and performed Umrah in the following year. Chapter on one who is prevented from performing the Hajj. Narrated Salim, Abdullah bin Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, used to say, is not the following of the Sunnah, legal ways of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, sufficient for you? If any one of you is prevented from performing Hajj, he should perform the tawaf of the Kaaba and sa'i, going between al-Safa and al-Marwa, and then finish the ihram, and everything will become legal for him, which was illegal for him during the state of ihram, and he can perform Hajj in a following year, and he should slaughter a hadith or observe sawm, fasting, in case he cannot afford the hadith. Chapter on the slaughtering of hadith before shaving the head, in case one is prevented from performing Hajj or Umrah. Narrated Al-Miswar, may Allah be pleased with him, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, slaughtered the hadith before he had his head shaved, and then he ordered his companions to do the same. Narrated Nafi', that Abdullah and Salim said to Abdullah bin Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, you should not go for Hajj this year. Abdullah bin Umar replied, we set out with the Prophet, peace be upon him, to Mecca for performing Umrah, and the infidels of Quraysh prevented us from reaching the Kaaba. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, slaughtered his bud, camels for sacrifice, and got his head shaved. Chapter on whoever said that the Muhsar is not supposed to perform Umrah or Hajj in lieu of the prevented one. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with them, said, the performing of Hajj is only obligatory in lieu of that Hajj which is abandoned because of personal pleasure, having sexual intercourse with his wife, and not for that which is abandoned because some genuine excuse or a similar thing. For example, disease or lack of money. Then he should finish his ihram, and there is no need for him to make up for it. And if he has a hadi with him and is prevented from performing Hajj, and he is unable to send it to its place of slaughtering, then he should slaughter it. But if he can send it, then he should not finish his ihram till the hadi has reached its place. That is, has been slaughtered. Malik and others said, he should slaughter his hadi and have his head shaved wherever he is, and does not have to make up for it, because the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions slaughtered the sacrifice and had their heads shaved in Al-Hudaybiyah, and finished their ihram before performing the tawaf and before the hadi reached the Kaaba. It is not mentioned that the Prophet, peace be upon him, ordered anybody to make up for any of the missed ceremonies, or to repeat anything, and Al-Hudaybiyah is outside the boundaries of the sanctuary of Mecca. Narrated Nafi', when Abdullah bin Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, set out for Mecca with the intention of performing Umrah in the period of al-fitna, trial and affliction, he said, if I should be prevented from reaching the Kaaba, then I would do the same as we did while in the company of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him. So he assumed the ihram for Umrah, since the Prophet, peace be upon him, had assumed the ihram for Umrah in the year of Al-Hudaybiyah. Then Abdullah bin Umar thought about it and said, the conditions for both Hajj and Umrah are similar. He then turned towards his companions and said, the conditions of both Hajj and Umrah are similar, and I make you witness that I have made the performance of Hajj obligatory for myself along with Umrah. He then performed one tawaf, sa'i, going between al-Safa and al-Marwa for both of them, that is, Hajj and Umrah, and considered that to be sufficient for him and offered a hadi. Chapter on the statement of Allah, and whosoever of you is ill, or has an ailment in his scalp, necessitating shaving, he must pay a fidyah, ransom, of either observing sawm, fasts, 3 days, or giving sadaqah, charity, feeding 6 poor persons, or offer sacrifice, 1 sheep. Quran, chapter 2, verse 196. He has the option. As for fasting, it should be for 3 days. Narrated Abdurrahman bin Abu Layla. Ka'b bin Uzrah, may Allah be pleased with him, said that Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said to him, Ka'b, perhaps your lice have troubled you. Ka'b replied, yes, O Allah's Messenger. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, have your head shaved, and then either fast 3 days, or feed 6 poor persons, or slaughter 1 sheep as a sacrifice. Chapter on the saying of Allah, or giving sadaqah. Quran, chapter 2, verse 196. Here, sadaqah is in the form of feeding 6 poor persons. Narrated Ka'b bin Uzrah, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, stood beside me at Al-Hudaybiyah, and the lice were falling from my head in great number. He asked me, have your lice troubled you? I replied in the affirmative. He ordered me to get my head shaved. Ka'b added this verse, and whosoever of you is ill, or has ailment in his scalp. Quran, chapter 2, verse 196, was revealed regarding me. The Prophet, peace be upon him, then ordered me either to observe sawm, fast, for 3 days, or to feed 6 poor persons with 1 faraq, 3 sar of dates, or to slaughter a sheep as sacrifice, whatever was available. Chapter on the Fidya, compensation for a missed or wrongly practiced religious ceremony, in the form of feeding 6 persons, each with 1/2 a sar of food. Narrated Abdullah bin Ma'qil, I sat with Ka'b bin Ujrah, may Allah be pleased with him, and asked him about the fidya. He replied, this revelation was revealed concerning my case, especially, but it is also for you in general. I was brought before Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and the lice were falling in great numbers on my face. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, I have never thought that your ailment or struggle has reached to such an extent as I see. Can you afford a sheep? I replied in negative. He then said, observe Sawm, fast for 3 days, or feed 6 poor persons, each with 1/2 a sar of food. 1 sar equals 3 kilograms approximately, and get your head shaved. Chapter on the Nusuk, offering is 1 sheep. Narrated Abdurrahman bin Abu Layla, reporting the speech of Ka'b bin Ujrah, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, saw him, that is, Ka'b, while the lice were falling on his face. He asked him, have your lice troubled you? He replied in the affirmative. So he, peace be upon him, ordered him to get his head shaved while he was at Al-Hudaybiyah. At that time, they were not permitted to finish their ihram and were still hoping to enter Mecca. So Allah revealed the verses of Al-Fidya. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, ordered him to feed 6 poor persons with 1 faraq of food, or to slaughter 1 sheep as a sacrifice, or to observe Sawm, fast for 3 days. Footnote: Ka'b was permitted to finish his ihram because of ailment in his head and had to pay fidya, although later on all his companions finished ihram because they were prevented from reaching the Kaaba. Narrated Ka'b bin Ujrah, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, saw him, that is, Ka'b, while the lice were falling on his face. Chapter on the statement of Allah, then he should not have sexual relations with his wife. Quran, chapter 2, verse 197. Narrated Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, whoever performs Hajj to this house, Kaaba, and does not approach his wife for sexual relations, nor commit sins while performing Hajj, he will come out as sinless as a newborn child, just delivered by his mother. Chapter on the statement of Allah, nor commit sin, nor dispute unjustly during Hajj. Quran, chapter 2, verse 197. Narrated Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever performs Hajj to this house, Kaaba, and does not approach his wife for sexual relations, nor commit sins while performing Hajj, he will come out as sinless as a newborn child, just delivered by his mother.